Ladies and gentlemen, it has been brought to my attention of a $16,000 loss by a very unique scam case. And I will say that, it could be you, it could be me. And I think it's important for me to warn everybody about this case. Let's watch on, shall we? This was a case that was brought to my attention by a very good friend. And this lady in particular lost $16,000 in a very unique, special case of scam. And I was putting myself in her shoe. I don't know how to I don't know how to prevent this. It was me, and I thought it's important for me to let everybody know. So, in a very interesting case study, so this lady received a WhatsApp call from her mom. The caller ID show mom, which is her usual way of displaying her mom's caller ID, and the profile picture was also displayed, which is the usual way, and it was a perfect voice match. So the person who spoke to her sounds like her mom, and even the way that was delivered, the mannerism and everything sounds exactly like the mom. It was completely authentic. And the mom raised that she needed $16,000 to be transferred to a particular account, and there's some level of urgency. And because it sounds like a mom, the voice is like the mom, the mannerism is like a mom. The lady, complied and transferred in a few transactions. Okay, and unfortunately, she did not verify it. And as all we know, in such cases, the money is gone. So I think it's important we further drill down to what exactly happened. The caller ID in WhatsApp and match exactly from the contact. So very likely in this case was an Android phone that the somehow that the ID was being already seized. I don't know how it can be done, but this is what happened, and WhatsApp has been exploited. This is very surprising. And the mom's profile photo, of course, and the call ID come out, you would already right have a level of trust there. I don't know how they can do real voice match to the mom precisely. And what is more importantly is the mannerism and the way she speaks was also the same. And there was no robotic voice or delay or things like that. So that's quite unique. My guess, and I could be wrong in this, is that the person who the scammer has already been monitoring the conversation through some tapping method and trying to copy the way the mom speak or something like that. And that's quite scary, right? So $16,000 were gone, okay, in a few transfer. And of course, on hindsight, one could always say, why don't you ask, right? And things like that. Well, the victim has no reason to doubt because everything seems legitimate. It's the mom. So, of course, later the victim found out from the mom that really it is not the mom, and the mom never called for money, and it was completely what we call a deep fake. Now, this clearly is a case of caller ID spoofing, and the WhatsApp ID was completely fake. What I don't know how it can be fake to this extent. The voice was deepfake as well. This is possible. We already heard of this, but how did they manage to clone it so perfectly and the mannerism and talking way so perfectly? I don't know. Okay, and of course, stealing photo is probably the easiest thing. So the question right now is there any way we can protect ourselves from it? Well, I think that if suddenly someone call you, regardless of how trustworthy the person is, and where a large sum of money is needed immediately, you know, talk a lot more. Okay, talk a lot more. Verify certain, have some authentication uh, experience that you both have together, and you know, don't let high pressure tactic like I can't talk for very long. I have no time to explain the kind of thing. I think if it's a lot, is money. I think you need to explain clearly, and I think it's something that you got to be careful. I told my children about it. The children say that, Papa, if you have to borrow money from me, something is wrong. Okay, so they will immediately detect it, and I thought that was quite funny. But what if my dad called me, right? Okay, and of course that's a different story altogether. So I'm very concerned that the level of scams technology has gone up to this level, right? Taking over your WhatsApp, probably planting something in your phone to be able to tap your phone, and of course, mimic people that you know to this kind of proximity, well, that's kind of scary. My guess is that iPhone is more difficult, Android is much more possible. So I personally would at least advise people, try to stick to iPhone because iPhone is more difficult to hack. But I cannot be sure the iPhone is not hackable, but I know technologically it is more difficult to hack. Clearly, this is a very terrifying scam case study because it exploits the the relationship of people who are closer to you, and the AI technology perfection is so high, and that's quite scary. And because of this, anybody could be a victim. And I've said and said again and again and again, find a way to lock up your money. Of course, you say that if this is a scam like this, even lock up money, it also can be scam, right? But that's true. But it's more difficult to scam a larger sum of money because you have to do a lot of trouble to get the money out of the money lock and things like that. And by then, hopefully, you at least have some time, buy some time to do more checks and so on. Of course, on hindsight, it's very easy to say must check, must check, must check. But I think there's something quite difficult to execute sometimes when it's someone close to you. So our defense strategy, in summary, always verify. Okay, always verify. And one of the ways, one way is checking. Let me call you back. Right? Don't call on WhatsApp back, or maybe call on a phone call, normal mobile phone call, and ask some personal questions, right? Ask some personal questions to verify, and you could ask it very smart and subtly so that you don't sound rude if it's a real person. And I'll just say this, take your time, don't need to rush. Okay, if the person is rushing you, then the more fishy it sound. I think this is something that we should take concern with. So, in a nutshell, I think that scams have reached a level of sophistication that there's almost it's almost impossible to be 100% sure that you won't be scammed. A lot of people think that only the greedy, the stupid, the gullible, and the kiasi, those people who are fearful, they only get it. No, I think not. Okay, I think not. It's time that we get it straight that it can happen to anybody. The more you believe it can happen to you, the more you're ready to be protected, right? That's, I think, the nutshell. The first level of defense is come into acceptance that it can happen to you and me. Once that is happening, then you will be always on the guard. Now, when I go Europe, for example, I'm always on my guard against pickpocket. Why? Because I think there's a lot of risk and it can happen to me. And no matter how I try to protect, I always get hit by pickpockets in Europe. Same kind of culture should apply here. Always be suspicious and be always in recognition that this thing can happen to you. Okay. So with this, let me hear some of your stories in the YouTube chat, okay, and comments. And I'd like to hear more of this. Okay, we can warn more people about it. Please share widely. I hardly ask you guys to share, but this one case study, I really ask you guys to share. Thank you and bye-bye. Hi, everybody. I never had this feeling for a long time. This is Kit Lu's BTO. They already started constructing, okay? And I don't know where the location will be, but this is a polyclinic. And right now, this direction here, just 300 meters is the MRT station. That's so near, right? And that makes me very jealous because I think you just walk 5 minutes, you'll reach MRT already. This is a primary school, okay? I'm not too sure whether this primary school is good, but there is a Nanhua primary school is much better. But Nanhua is there?
Nanhua is there.
Really? Wow. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I just want to say this. I haven't had a BTO for more than 2.5 decades. And now that they have a BTO, I don't know why I'm proud of the work experience, like as if I strike Toto like that. I think I'm very happier that my daughter is going to stay here, and
one bus, they take any bus from the road there. I think there are 5 or 6 buses, and one straight bus for 5-10 minutes they'll reach my home. So one train station or buses, they'll reach my home easily. It just makes me feel very heartwarming. Yeah. So yeah, share this joy with you.